what the black man and woman needs to know about the nation, about the world, about themselves. Muhammad Speaks It. To order your 12-issue subscription to Muhammad Speaks newspaper, 313-371-7033. 313-371-7033. Kareem Bean Pie is the grand champion of all bean pies. The rich flavor and smooth texture takes this pie to a whole new level of delicious. One bite and you'll understand why people all over the country call daily to order Kareem Bean Pie. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033. Kareem Bean Pie.
This bean pie is delicious.
Muhammad Speaks presents Messenger Elijah Muhammad's Teachings by Minister Khalil Shabazz every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, 12609 East McNichols Road in Detroit.
Brother, sister, rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Soul Master's dear gentlemen in which we now live. The alone do we serve, and the alone seek for thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path, path of those upon whom thou bestow thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard thy teaching. Say he, Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness that none deserve to be served, worship, or praise besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, thy true servant and last apostle. Ameen. We'd like to acknowledge the brothers and sisters that extended us the greetings of Assalamu Alaikum. We have Brother Samori Samar from New York. We have Brother Stephen Cowan from Washington State. We have Brother Kareem Muhammad from New Jersey. We have Sister Sabrine Rashid from Alabama. We have Sister Keisha Howard from Michigan. We have Sister Hala Brooks from California. And we have Brother Mustafa and Sister Sharice Ali from Ohio. I'd like to say in the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and in the name of his last and greatest messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'd like to greet the brothers and sisters with the Nation of Islam's greeting words of peace of Assalamu Alaikum. Today we like to talk about the Lion Hebrew Israelites and the land called Black. We got another video of them. They saying it's 2023 and you still calling yourself black. It's like they just openly make a mockery of the messenger without no response at all. Then not only are they making these videos, then this was shared March 8th. Once again, they having a function. And guess who came? Lewis and his people. The Israelites be dogging the messenger. Then when they have functions, the brothers come. Then when you look at the picture of the brother, he's showing all his teeth. But the brother who the Israelite, he looking militant. This Lewis. So before we start talking about Lewis and these Israelites, I just want to show you how easy it would be for us to defend the teachings of the messenger. No sweat at all. They have another video that says black is the color in a crayon box, not a nation of people. Then he asked the brother, because every time they talking to people, the messenger's teachings is so deeply rooted into the black community that every person that they ask, what's your nationality, they say, I'm black. Because the messenger taught us we was black. Right. He taught us to love black. He taught us to be proud of black. So that's what the black man has accepted. So every time they ask a black man, what's your nationality, they say, I'm black. So in this video, it was about the 1 minute mark, 1 minute 45 seconds. The Israelite brother said, can you buy a ticket to a land called black? That's what he said to the brother. Because that's what they say to black people to try to make you think that black is something stupid to call yourself. Because can you buy a ticket to the land called black? Because they say I'm not black, I'm a Hebrew, and they got crayons for black. And they put these on sweatshirts. Now let's look at that. Can you buy a ticket to a land called black? Let's start with some history. Let's go to my main man, J.A. Rogers. This comes from the August 10th, 1935 Pittsburgh Carrier. It says the real name of Egypt was Kemet, which means land of the blacks. Praise due to Allah. Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that we are not a race of people. We are a nation. He taught us that the whole planet Earth is the home of the black man. Yes. So if before the white man came among us and robbed us of a knowledge of self, we used to celebrate our blackness. We would call our country, it would be named Kemet, but Kemet means land of the blacks. So let's go on even further with this land called black. This comes from December 28th, 1940, my Pittsburgh Carrier. This time it's talking about Zanzibar. It says Zanzibar, which means land of the blacks, was a great African empire even in the days of the pharaohs. As late as 1600, it owned all of what is now British and Italian East Africa and more. So let's look at that. You got two African countries that the name of their country means land of the blacks. So that means these two countries can unite with each other based on race. But when the white man come, he say you Indian and you Pakistani. That's your nationality. Because the white man highlights the differences in the black man to divide and conquer. One of the ways the white man divides the black man is through nationality. One of the best examples to use would be in Kenya. Because when I was in high school, I watched that movie, Hotel Rwanda. Then after I watched the movie, I did research on the brothers and sisters in Kenya. They said what happened was, the Hutu and the Tutsi are the two groups of people in Kenya. They lived in harmony with each other for hundreds upon hundreds of years before the white man came. So when the white man came, he began to befriend, I forget whether it was the Hutu or the Tutsi, but the group of people that they befriended was the smaller group. The group that was the largest, which I believe it was 85% of the population, was the larger group. The white man kicked them to the curb. He oppressed them. He was hardcore against them. He didn't give them nothing. But the smaller group, he liked them. He gave them a good education. He let them live in the best parts. He treated them better. So they felt like they better than them now. So when Kenya got their independence, the white man just left. He abandoned that smaller group that he was friends with. The group that felt like they was better. The group that felt like I speak British. I got a British accent. I got a British education. So the larger group hated them. So they began to massacre the Hutu, a people who lived in harmony with each other for hundreds upon hundreds of years. And the messenger taught us, that's how the white man rules us. That's right. by divide and conquer. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the white man was in heaven for 6 months and he caused trouble. He caused the righteous and holy black people to fight and kill one another. That's right. Because Yaqub taught them divide and conquer. He said start them to have a fight with each other. Then you step in to mediate. And once you step in to mediate, you can rule them both. That's exactly how it is. That's the teachings of the messenger. Yes, sir. So when the messenger taught us that we black, he said we are of the original black nation of the earth. He never taught us nothing about nationality. But let's keep going even further than that. Because we want to show you that you can buy a ticket to the land called black. Let's go to another black land. What does Sudan mean? Sudan, the name Sudan, derives from the Arabic expression Bilad al-Sudan, land of the blacks. That's how easy it would be if we could crush these Israelites. I'm trying to tell you. I don't see them as if they are so intimidating. I just see Louis Farrakhan is in the way. Yeah. He's a hypocrite. And he is the reason why the most honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings seem to be so weak now. Because the messenger used to teach us. He used to say silence is consent. Yes. This is what he used to tell Muslims. Because he gave us clear instructions on how we supposed to defend him. Yes. He says silence is consent. If you sit there and you listen to anything that's wrong, you know it's wrong. But you don't say you consenting to that. If you sit somewhere listening to somebody dog out a person who you know is good, but you don't say nothing. You let everybody listen to a person lie on this brother, dog him out, but you don't say, wait a minute, that brother now, he ain't never did nothing to me. I don't know nothing about that. The messenger said if you see a good carpenter, you know this man fixed your house. He built your house. So if somebody talk, you defend him. He built my house. Yeah. So the messenger taught us silence is consent. Another thing the messenger taught us. He said if a person is wrong in public, they should be corrected in public. That's what the messenger taught. He didn't teach us to pull you to the side. And that's the reason why I hate Louis Farrakhan. I'm going to just keep it real. I ain't got no love for him. I hate him like the messenger taught us to hate. Hypocrites. Right. The messenger. In the 1968, Muhammad speaks. Because when the messenger used to write these articles on hypocrites, they would be reprints. So in 1968, them reprints of them articles on hypocrites, the messenger said, the hypocrites are the most hated ones of Allah, his messenger, and those who follow him. He didn't just say they hated. He said the hypocrites are the most hated ones of Allah, his messenger, and those who follow him. That's right. So when it comes to this hypocrite Louis Farrakhan, not only do we hate this hypocrite for what he has done to the nation of it, we hate this hypocrite for what he is now doing to the nation of Islam. Yes, sir. Praise you due to Allah. Messenger taught us, accept your own and your own. This is our nation. Yes. This nation does not belong to that hypocrite Louis Farrakhan. This nation belongs to the black man. Yes. The messenger taught us upon accepting our own. He told us about Ezekiel. He said God told Ezekiel If you tell these people the truth and they turn on their heels and reject the truth, they blood not on your hands. He said, but if you know the truth and you don't tell them and they die in their sins, he said their blood are on your hands. Yes. That's what the messenger taught us. This thing, we are indebted to Allah.
Yes, sir.
We make an oath to him. Once we accept the message, we accept him as the messenger, then we take an oath that we are going to spread these teachings to as many people as we can.
That's right.
So if us being a Muslim, if I see a person and I'm a minister, I'm responsible for getting this truth of the messenger to as many people as I can in this city. So if I see some Israelites in this city telling the black man something against what I'm supposed to speak against them.
Yes.
Ain't no pulling them to the side. Because just to talk about Lewis for a minute, let's just talk about some history of him. This is a video of him because Louis Farrakhan today is a totally different person than what he was during the time of the message. This is a video that I want everybody to go listen to. This is called Mutaka Baraka and Minister Farrakhan full interview. It says Farrakhan's most uncomfortable interview. Why was this interview so uncomfortable for this hypocrite? Because this brother had a lecture that this hypocrite Louis Walcott said during the time of the message. Because what most of these black people in America don't know, who think you friends with the nation, you not friends with you don't like the messenger at all. You think you like the messenger because you like this hypocrite. But when the messenger was on the scene, them black power and Pan-Africanists hated the message. The only reason they started to accept the messenger in the late 60s and early 70s is because the messenger was so successful. But in the early 60s and mid 60s, in the 50s, they didn't invite the messenger or the Nation of Islam to none of these big conventions they used to have. They're like the hell with Elijah Muhammad and that Islam. He talking crazy. Because the messenger, the one thing they didn't like, the messenger was a moral reformer.
Yes.
He would tell you in a minute what you doing was uncivilized and savage. In a heartbeat. They didn't like that. They thought black mean anything I like just as long as I'm accepting my black self. No. The messenger said it's styles that's uncivilized. It's way you act that's uncivilized. The way you talk, the way you wear your hair is uncivilized. Praise to Allah. That was that raw Islam.
Yes.
So this brother had that raw Islam on this hypocrite. So he was playing it back. He was asking this hypocrite why you were saying that. Because he was offended like most black people would be. If he was Old Testament, Louis Farrakhan. He New Testament. He loved everybody, Louis Farrakhan. Don't chastise your brother in public. Don't beat up this brother. Because I want everybody, don't listen to me. Go to the Muhammad Speaks newspapers is online. You can go to Jade's store. Everything I say, I ever say, go look it up for yourself. Louis Farrakhan and them brothers and sisters during the time of the message used to write articles in the Muhammad Speaks newspaper telling black people, white people, whoever it applied to, if we hear you disrespecting the message, you disrespecting Allah, you disrespecting the messenger or what he taught, we will physically fight you.
Yes, sir.
That's how Muslims used to be with the messenger. They were Farrakhan. Let's get back to this. The reason why this brother didn't like the little portion that he played, because Farrakhan used to go to these Afrocentric meetings. He used to talk about how they used to have them sisters dancing on stage half naked. He would say that was uncivilized. He would say, all you brothers in here is uncivilized savages. To sit in here and watch a black woman dance in front of all of these brothers and she half naked. And he would be the keynote speaker at their function, brow-beating them, straight raw Islam. So when this brother was listening to how the messenger and the Muslims really believe about that, he was highly upset. So he put this hypocrite on the spot, because he done knew and improved Louis Farrakhan today. So he like, why would you say something like that about the black man? Why are you disrespecting him like that? That's disrespect, all that kind of stuff. So the hypocrite said, he said, well, brother, you playing a speech of me that I gave in the 70s. If I was to talk about that same subject now, I wouldn't say the same thing. He said, just as Paul says, when I was a child, I thought as a child. I understood as a child. He said, but when I became a man, I put away all my childish things. That's what this hypocrite gonna say. So what he's saying about the messenger? And this is the thing about this hypocrite that I hate. He sneak dissed the mess. That was a sneak diss.
Oh, yes.
That was a huge sneak diss he just did of the mess. He's saying that the messenger was immature.
Right.
The messenger didn't have an understanding, because that stuff that I was saying then in the 70s, I was saying Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us. He wasn't just up there just talking and running off. He one time said that when they would have ministers' meetings, he said the messenger would give them the outline of what he wanted them to say. He said they would just fill in the blanks. But the messenger told them, this is what I want you to go tell them. A, B, and C. So when Farrakhan used to go represent the messenger or any minister, they say the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us such and such and so and so. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that wearing beards is unclean. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us short skirts is uncivilized. That's how they used to talk. So now today, when you had these black Hebrew Israelites speaking against the messenger, Farrakhan sharing stuff, stop beating each other up in public. That's what he's saying. So that these black Hebrew Israelites can mislead the black man. Because the messenger taught us that God taught him that we are the Asiatic black man from the tribe of Shabazz.
That's right.
Not only did he tell us that God taught us that, he said, if you don't accept me as the messenger and Master Farad Muhammad as God, he said that you will be pushed in the lake of fire alive with the devil.
That's right.
That's what the messenger said. He said, Allah does not permit me to force none of you to believe. He said, but I will make the truth so plain that even a fool can't act.
Yes, sir.
So when the messenger taught us about black, he told us that the white man taught us to hate black. They the ones who taught us to hate black. They the ones who taught us to hate our black skin. Because the white man knows that our black skin, our black features, we are a superior people to them.
Yes.
That's what it is. That's why Kemet means land of the blacks. Sudan means land of the blacks. Zanzibar, land of the blacks. And when you go even further, because J. Rogers said that Ethiopia was given to that continent or that country by the Greeks. Now, what does Ethiopia mean? Ethiopia also means Ethiopia, and this comes from J.A. Rogers or from John Henry Clark. He says there was a time when all dark-skinned people were called Ethiopians, for the Greeks referred to Africa as the land of the burnt-faced people. So even the Greeks, when they saw the black, they always recognized our features. Because upon just simple observation, you can see the superiority of black over white.
That's right.
You don't have to be no scientist to see. Black people who deaf, dumb, and blind say, black don't crack. You can look at this devil and look at his skin and see he aged way faster than the black man. That's just simple observation. Simple observation shows us that when we sit in the sun, our skin absorbs the sun. Of course, we can't be a fool and lay directly in the rays of the sun and just let the sun burn us to death. But we can go outside and do normal, natural stuff. Go garden.
Yeah.
Go cut the grass. Go to the park and chill with your family.
Yeah.
We don't have to wear sunscreen like the devil.
That's right.
They say that the devil's skin. White skin is so weak that even in the wintertime, even when the sun is not shining on a cloudy day, the little bit of rays that come through still attack the white man's skin.
That's right.
That's what makes him inferior to the black man. And the messenger told us the white man hates the black man.
Yes.
He said because he wished that he was black. That's why the white man hates the black man. But let's go on even further with this land called black. This comes from the March 9th, 1968 Pittsburgh Carrier. It's called Swaziland Pride. It says Swaziland, which will become independent from Great Britain, will retain its same name. It says Swazi in German means black, and its citizens are proud to have their nation called Swaziland, or black man's land, as we the Nigerians, which also means land of the blacks. When the black man had a knowledge of himself, he always celebrated the fact that I'm black.
Yes.
We know we are the superior. We know we're the original man. That's the black man.
Yes, sir.
The maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, and the God of the universe. But the black man has been robbed of a knowledge of self.
Yes.
Messenger taught us the black man has been in the hands of an enemy. That enemy taught us to hate ourselves. You think like in the Bible. J.A. Rogers said that the word Egyptian and the word Ethiopian was given to the black man by the Greeks. Now we say that the Bible is the word of God. That's what Bust Stop Bishop and them be saying. They say that the Bible is a book written by Israelites for Israelites. So if the Bible is the word of God, it's a word that's straight from God. Why would God have in it a people that never existed at all? There never in the history of a black man was a people called Egyptians. There never was a country called Egyptians. So when they say that the Israelites was enslaved, who are the Egyptians? Because if the people's name was Kemet, or they called themselves Kemites, why wouldn't you just call them Kemites? Why would you want to call them Egyptians? If the history says the Kemites enslaved the Israelites, why do you want to change their name? Because the messenger taught us. He said that the Bible is a poison book.
Yes.
He said the black man is not called by his name.
That's right.
Black man ain't called by his name nowhere in the Bible. So when you have black historians, this is a black historian named Sheikh Anta Diop. He got a book called Pre-Colonial Black Africa. This talking about the black man before the white man came to Africa. In this book, he don't talk about no prophet or nobody in the Bible. He don't even talk about Jesus. Now, if the history of Jesus is so real, like they say, why wouldn't a black man write about Jesus as far as history is concerned? If Jesus walked on water, if Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, if Jesus was crucified and he rose from the dead 3 days later, why would no black historian write a book about Jesus? Because the messenger said that if Jesus would not have died for the truth that he taught us, he said we wouldn't even know who Jesus was. When you talk about the history of Jesus, there was nothing written about Jesus while he was alive. When you talk about a historian, they say they know that Jesus existed. But Jesus was so insignificant when he was alive that people that even followed him didn't even write nothing down about him when he was alive. Because the messenger said, the white man mixes truth with falsehood.
Yes.
He told us that the white man always knew that the Mahdi was coming. But he said he didn't know when. So the messenger said the white man taught us the truth in such a way, or taught us lies in such a way, that when the truth came, we would automatically reject it. When you look at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when you look at him as a messenger, when you look at all of the good that he did for us, if we wouldn't accept him, who else would we accept? That's why the messenger say, I'm the last and greatest messenger of Allah.
Yes.
The messenger said he is the only black man in the 6,000-year history that was chosen directly from God himself. He said he was directly chosen by God. He said none of the prophets saw God face to face. Not one. He said the whole of the Bible is talking about the coming of the Son of Man. It's not talking about the history of nobody. It's talking about the coming of the Son of Man. So when the messenger told us about the Bible, he told us about Samson. He said there was a real person in history named Samson. He said, but in the Bible, it's a story about Samson. And this is why you have another book by another historian, J. Rogers. He don't talk about Jesus. He don't talk about David. He don't talk about none of the prophets, but he talks about Prophet Muhammad. He talks about his companions. Why? Because Prophet Muhammad had real life history. The messenger told us that Islam is the natural religion of man. He said it's our nature to submit to the will of Allah. So when Prophet Muhammad came on the scene with Islam, the messenger and J. Rogers said he almost converted the whole world to Islam. And that's one thing that we should do. Like the messenger said, we should study the history of Prophet Muhammad.
Yes.
Because Prophet Muhammad and his tribes are an example of the messenger's life.
Yes.
Because when Prophet Muhammad first came on the scene, nobody accepted him. He was from the Quraysh tribe. The Quraysh tribe was a bunch of savages. They was deaf, dumb, and blind like the black man. So Prophet Muhammad was coming to his people, telling them to accept Allah. There's only one God, and his proper name is Allah. They didn't accept Prophet Muhammad. They chased Prophet Muhammad. But who accepted Prophet Muhammad? The black man. The black man accepted Prophet Muhammad. The black man was the one who fought to establish Islam long before the Arabs ever even accepted Prophet Muhammad. Because the messenger told us that Islam is the black man's religion.
Yes.
Islam has always been our religion. He said Islam is the very nature of the black man. The black man has always been a Muslim. The messenger said, he said all of the prophets were Muslims. He said, but none of the prophets fought as hard as Prophet Muhammad did for the truth. That's why he said in the Bible, it talks about the Israelites being the murderers of the prophets. Because he said none of the prophets fought as hard for Islam as Prophet Muhammad. The messenger said, when Prophet Muhammad came on the scene, he said whatever the Quran didn't do, the sword made up for that.
Yes, sir.
That's what the messenger said.
Yes.
And when you read in this book, this is a good book, by the way. This book is by Brother Sheikh Atidiya. He got a whole chapter in this book talking about Islam. It's chapter 7, and it talks about the ideological structure Islam in Black Africa. What's interesting about this book? He talks about the peaceful conversion of Muslims in Africa. He said that's how it happened at first. Because it wasn't always peaceful. Why was it not always peaceful? If you came to America and you conquered the white man, you told everybody in America, okay, we about to be a Islamic state. No more drinking alcohol. No more fornication. No more buying a hotel room with a woman that's not your wife. This gonna be a Muslim state. Everybody who live here, you either get down or you lay down. So the people say, I don't want to give up smoking. I don't want to give up drinking. So they gotta fight. That's how Islam was spread throughout many parts of Africa. They fought with the sword just like anybody fights. The messenger had to fight. The messenger said the minister had to be good at fighting with his mouth and with his hand.
He did.
The messenger said, make all men and boys join the FOI. Train them up fast to be strong fighters, to give their life at any time for the cause. We have to fight. We have to fight to establish Islam just like any other prophet. The messenger had to fight. The messenger was our prime example. When the messenger first started teaching the black man and he was black, I remember Brother Ahmad told us, they had to actually fight. Brother Ahmad told us, y'all wouldn't believe how black people used to respond to you calling them black. He said we would go out to black people. Because he said back in the 40s, black was a bad term to call a black man. We used to the black blood, black power. No, he said in the 40s, if you called a black man black, that was like calling him a nigga.
Yeah.
So he said we out in the community trying to tell the black man to love black. He used to say some black people used to get so mad that they would actually try to fight them for teaching them to love themselves. That was the work of the message. Because this is an article that was written in the New York Times or the LA Times. This was before black was accepted. This comes from the July 31st, 1968 Los Angeles Times. This was a brother, they was having a workshop with high school and college students. This was when everybody was deciding whether they wanted to be called Negro, black, or colored. It says black, which had been considered a dirty word so long, now is a word the people are proud of, while the word color is taken in a derogatory sense, stemming from the days of slavery. As Art Taylor, director of senior division program at UC Riverside, said in a formal discussion during lunch, he said, "This is the first time in history my people have pride in their race, and it is all happening during the last year. Now we want to be called black. We are proud of it, and I think it is wonderful." When the black man first started to accept black, the black people said this is the first time in our history that the black man was proud of his race. Not proud to be an American. Not proud because you're African. Not proud because you're a knight, but proud of your race. The messenger told us, the black man, we are not a race of people. We are a nation of people. But the black man, for once in his life, was proud to be called black.
Yes.
He was proud to tell the white man, I'm a black man. So let's go on even further than that. Let's go to an article that was written by C. Eric Lincoln. This is July 29th, 1973, Los Angeles Times. He says Elijah Muhammad's personal acceptance in the black community has been far from universal. Yet, his influence in changing black self-concepts and fostering black pride among the masses has been unmatched by any individual since Marcus Garvey. Unmatched. They say the messenger, he as his leadership, he ain't universally accepted. But his concepts of racial pride is widely accepted. That's a messenger of God.
Yes.
The messenger was leading people who didn't even accept him. The messenger was leading people who hated him. Messenger said the Bible talks about how they would shut their mouths at him.
That's right.
All of them gotta use the wisdom of the message. No matter what you say. You are Pan-Africans. You hate what the messenger say about Afros. You hate what he say about Afrocentric clothes. But you talking about you black and you proud.
Right.
You talking about how to eat to live. You talking about we don't eat swine. You talking about soul food is slave food. After the message.
Yeah.
Because he is the messenger of God. So the messenger. When black people finally started to accept black. This is an article that was in the August 18th, 1972, Muhammad speaks. Messenger says, he says the black man, for the first time since he has been in the Western Hemisphere, he is accepting himself as a black man and not as a colored man. He says, never have we, the black man, been so happy to be called black. And the book Bible teaches us that God will come one day and God will choose us, the black people, to be his people. He says, and now that we have learned that black is a better color, we want to be black. You just do not have a better color than black. Black looks good all the time. He said the beautiful part of black is that we love black. That's the message. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
For over 30 years, and that's why I hate this hypocrite. There is no way to love the messenger and love a hypocrite. Because the messenger says the hypocrites, they won't just leave. He said they try to turn other people away. He said the hypocrite want people to be just like them. So you got the messenger. A man who we as Muslims know. The messenger went on a run for 7 years for his life. Just to teach us the truth. Messenger, I listen to the messenger often. I used to listen to him talk about that time on the run. I remember the first time I ever listened to the messenger talk about his time on the run. And I ain't gonna lie, sometimes you listen to the messenger and you hear his sincere love that he had and dedication for the black man, that you get choked up sometimes.
Yes.
I was listening to him. He was talking about when he was in Washington, D.C. He was saying how he had been on the run for 7 years. He said sometimes he would come to where Sister Clara was. He said he would walk in the house, kiss her on the cheek, and walk out the back door. He said because they were on my heels. He said there were plenty close calls. He didn't say one. He said plenty. So then he said when he was on the run, he said to hide from the people who was killing him, he would go to Washington, D.C. sometime in the Library of Congress to read up on the history of Prophet Muhammad. The messenger used to use alias to still have meetings when they trying to kill him. Brother Benjamin said when he first met the messenger, he didn't meet him as Elijah Muhammad. He met him as Mr. Evans.
That's right.
He didn't know who the messenger was. He said he thought the messenger was strange. He said the messenger was always going in and out. Brother Benjamin said that one day the messenger wanted to teach them how to eat to live. He said at the time he didn't know what the messenger was trying to do. So he said the messenger told him, let me cook for your family. He said the messenger brought in his own pots and pans and all his utensils. He cooking up this big meal. But Brother Benjamin said it was just him and his wife. But the messenger cooking this big meal for them to eat. So Brother Benjamin said, the messenger said, why don't you invite your friends over? That was the message. Trying to teach the black man the truth.
That's right.
So while the messenger was on the run, and this is what got me. He said I was on the run, and he said in the evening time, he said Master Farad Muhammad told him in the evening that all the hypocrites is dead. Now any person like, oh man, I can go to Chicago and see Claire and my family.
Yes.
Everybody would be so relieved, like, God, Allah done brought me out of. He said on the eve of Master Farad Muhammad telling him that, the FBI locked him up for the draft thing. I was like, wow.
Yes, sir.
Because I know how it ain't nobody, at least as far as I know. I don't know what Allah protecting us from. But at least as far ain't nobody chasing me. At least as far as I know. But I couldn't imagine you running for your life for 7 years. Doing all you can still having meetings. Still ducking and kissing your wife walking out the back. Then after 7 years, they'll be out lock you up to take you to jail. I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah.
But the messenger said, he said, I didn't cry. I didn't get down. He said, because I knew one day I was going to be the winner. Another thing I listened to the messenger one time, he was talking about in the 30s. He said he was doing all he could do for Islam. He said he was feeling down. He said he was riding on a train. Thinking like, God, you know, like all this I'm doing, it seemed like ain't nothing changing. They still won't accept it. I'm still on the run. I miss my family. But he said he could hear Master Farad Muhammad's voice in the train tracks.
Yeah.
That say, do you think that upon your belief you would not be tried? This was the message.
Yes.
And this is what he did for all of us.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you, it gets you choked up
Yes, sir.
to listen to all that this man did for the black man. So, brothers and sisters, we don't want to prolong the time. So I leave you as I came in the nation of Islam. Greeting words, peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Enjoying the show? Help keep us on the air. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033 to make a donation.
Brothers and sisters, we rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the beneficent and merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the beneficent and merciful, sole master's day of judgment in which we now live. The alone do we serve, and the alone seeks for thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path, path of those upon whom thou bestow thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard thy teachings. Say he, Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness that none is there to be served, worship or praise besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, thy true servant and last apostle. Ameen. Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us not to do anything to anyone, wouldn't have done it to ourselves, treat everybody right, even the devil. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.